y'all are a fabulous looking crowd. Hey! Thank y'all. You know, and I'm really happy we're in our new space. Many of you will call it the old Ferguson building, but we will eventually call it the Odette building, which is really special to me because that is my mom's name. So it will forever be known to me as the Odette building. So I want to thank our steering committee here in Birmingham that does above and beyond and works so hard to keep everything going and these fabulous events going. I want to thank our resources for this space we have, and I really want to tell y'all that this Women for Alabama movement is growing, right? We have groups now that I have gone and on a listening tour with. We're traveling around. We were in Auburn. We had a great group there. We had a nice meet and greet. We met with some women to hear about their concerns, and you know, their concerns are our concerns. They are very similar to what we're hearing everywhere that we're out and about. So they're really, you know, they want to know if they're, you know, how they're going to afford their kids' child care. You know, one lady is very pregnant with her second child, and she is talking about, I love my job, but how do I afford child care for two? We all know how expensive that is. Another woman that said that she, you know, she needs help with her elderly parents. She wants to work, but she needs to help take care of them, and it's expensive and it's hard, and what can be done to help with that situation? So we are hearing a lot of concerns. We were in Mobile with Kalisha Figures, who is a rock star in her own right. She is tomorrow's life. And anytime that I feel a little bit grumpy about being at a town hall, I remember her because she was carrying her 9-month-old on her way to her town hall, and with her 3 other children in tow. So I have no right to complain. It's all good. It's all good. And we have others planned. We're going to be in Montgomery later this week. We're going to be in Huntsville later in September and in Selma. So if you have friends in any of those places, please, you know, let them know, and we'll be advertising that. We're going to have a fantastic rally with Jason Isbell, and on the 23rd in Mobile. We're looking forward to that. And also, we have something new going on, which is our new and special Women's March. So we have the steering committee for our Birmingham group has the first of the Women for Alabama t-shirts. Very cute bags, right? And I think they're tags. So check out our merch store at DougJones.com. I am very happy that I have the pleasure to introduce our moderator for this conversation. She is a rock star. Her name is Alicia Jones. Yeah. She has had over 35 years of experience in human resources leadership. She's worked various places, but she recently retired, and we have her here, even though she's retired and she should be on the beach somewhere, from UAB, and she led a team of over 100 professionals. She helped implement the paid parental leave. She has had the various positions over the years, and she is currently the founder of AMJ HR Solutions. So I want y'all to give her a warm welcome. She's going to come out. She has a cheat sheet too. I'm just telling you. And I guess the guy of the hour, my guy, needs no introduction. You know, he's chatty, right? So y'all be ready. He's super chatty. You know, we were really excited that Jason was going to come again, right, in September and do this great rally for us and doing a fabulous fundraiser. And a really funny story to talk about when we did our kickoff. He was really nice enough to come and play, and we had a great time. The staff was doing the run a show, which is typical. We had one for this event tonight. And, we had on there, he was going to sing, and then, I thought it would be very cute and, fun if I sang with him. And when Doug saw that on the run of show, he ran faster than I've ever seen him run. He should have asked me, had I lost my mind? The answer was no, but it was fun anyway. So anyway, y'all give a great welcome to your next governor.
Thank you all. Thanks, everybody. Seriously.
Thank you for running, Doug.
Absolutely. Well, it is a pleasure to be here with you tonight. I thank you for the opportunity to have this discussion with you.
Thank you.
So, as we get started, I'm thinking about the fact that this is the beginning of the school year. And as we think about the school year, the top education is top of mind for many of us. It's always been. So while Alabama has had tremendous growth in math recovery and growth since COVID, we still rank 43rd in overall public school quality. If you are elected governor, and I'm not going to say it, when you are elected governor, what are the first things you would do to improve education in Alabama?
First of all, again, thank you all for coming. This is really overwhelming for us. We felt like when we started this process that we would get a lot of support, but it has been truly amazing. And I'm going to tell you guys, seriously, we see crowds all over. And the reason is because, the reason that we got into this race is because we think that there's a better opportunity for Alabama. And some of you might be here just because you like us, okay? Some of you would be here in spite of us. But the fact of the matter is you're here because you agree. We've got some really great opportunities in Alabama for change. And that's why we're here. One thing I want to do real quick, ready to go. Where'd Jeff go? I want y'all, Jeff McLaughlin running for Attorney General. Education. We have made some strides in education, which we should be proud of. The legislature started doing some things a few years ago that really helped. They passed the Literacy Act, which really helped third grade reading, okay? And they were smart because they believe it or not, they actually looked over to Mississippi, saw what was going on over there. I know, but it's true. And so they started, to try to improve third grade reading and math. And they've done that with the Literacy Act, with the Numeracy Act. But the key to that is funding, making sure that there are teachers that have coaches to help them, not just mentors for the kids, but coaches for the teachers, and to put more money into those areas and to do it in the right way. The reading especially was important because they started getting back to the phonics and the things that most of us in here, how we learned how to read. The other thing that they did, which I thought was extremely important, and that was something called the RAISE Act. And the RAISE Act started putting some funding in different areas. There was the funding that goes to the schools, but they started investing in English language learning schools. They started investing in special education more. They started investing in putting more money in schools where the poverty level, the number of kids below the poverty level is a certain amount. There's several criteria, and it was a way to keep in place the really ridiculous way we fund education, but also to give some additional funding in school systems and schools that need it. So we got to continue to do that. Now the problem is this. The problem is that after they started seeing success, and by the way, we bumped up a lot in 3rd grade reading and math, a lot. But you go up to 8th grade and we're still like 48, 49, along those lines. So the key is to go from the 4th to the 5th, to the 6th, and on up and up. That requires investment. And the problem that the legislature did is they passed something called the Choose Act, which is really not about choice. And I want to make sure everybody understands. That is not about choice. This is about giving vouchers that will take money out of the public schools and put to private schools. And we got to get rid of that, okay? We've got to get rid of that. And right now, and it's only in its like 2nd year, and I think like 70% of the kids who are taking advantage of that were already in private schools. And the idea was to, kids in failing schools, they could get out, whatever. But we're giving a handout. And the real kicker is that next year they're going to remove income caps. First 2 years they had income caps where if you make above a certain amount, you're not eligible for it. They're going to remove that. And so now after a year, we're going to see families whose household income may be $250,000, $500,000, doesn't matter. If they want to put their kids in a private school, they're going to get a government handout. And that's money that's going to be leaving it's your money, and it's going to be leaving public schools. So I'm going to be a strong advocate for eliminating the Choose Act one way or another. We may want to phase it out for kids who have used it and changed schools. I don't want to take something away. We have a Supreme Court and an administration in Washington who's doing too damn much of taking rights away from people. So I don't want to do that as governor necessarily. But I think that's the big thing. That's going to be a required act of the legislature. The governor just can't do it. Right. But the governor's got the bully pulpit to hopefully get it done.
Yes. Good. Well, that's exciting to hear. So I want to talk a little bit about women's health care, because that is an important issue for all women. Birthing centers are at risk of shutting down, and labor and delivery is one of the first departments to go when there are hospital budget cuts. As governor, what would you do to protect these spaces from closing?
Well, the first thing that I think any governor ought to do is expand Medicaid.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Now let's be candid here. The governor alone can't expand Medicaid. The governor can expand the eligibility for Medicaid. But the problem that we've had in Alabama is that we've not had a governor or anybody in statewide office that's been a champion for expanding Medicaid. They have let our rural hospitals close. They have let those let the OBGYN and delivery services and everything closed down, shut down. And not done anything about it. They do a few little odds and ends about maternal mortality, but it's just window dressing. And we really need to expand Medicaid. And if we'd had a champion in the governor's office or statewide office, I think we could have done it in the past, because we haven't because of purely political reasons. So come January, come November the 4th, when people finally realize Doug Jones has been elected,
Yes.
people are going to start taking notice.
Yes.
And come January, when we get sworn in, we're going to expand the eligibility. And that's going to go a long way if we can convince the legislature. So one of the things, ladies, is that this campaign does not stop on November the 3rd.
Yes.
This campaign is going to go on, because we need to have everybody down there lobbying this legislature, doing the things necessary to get them to find the money to fund Medicaid expansion. And when we do that, we're going to get a lot of services around the state. So that's the biggest thing that I think we can do.
Okay, all right. Well, kind of in keeping with that, which is really important, Alabama ranks near the top in the country for infant and maternal mortality.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about, in addition to what you just said, what would you do to address that specific issue?
Well, first of all, I think you got to talk about it.
Yeah.
You don't hear any of that coming out of Montgomery. You don't hear anybody talking about infant mortality. They just hide from it. You don't hear them talking about maternal mortality. You know, and that's especially hitting minority communities.
Yes.
You know, both women and babies are more likely to die than white babies. And that is something that has to be addressed. I think Medicaid expansion will help that issue a lot. And they've done one thing. They have expanded some post-birth time for postpartum kind of Medicaid expansion for a period of time. But we don't take care of women or kids after that birth for long enough. So we got to make sure, I think with Medicaid expansion we'll do. Look, here's the thing about, and I know, and I've talked to y'all before, and you've all heard me at various events, and I do sound like a broken record about Medicaid expansion, but the fact of the matter is, expanding Medicaid would be the single biggest economic driver and development that this state has ever seen. It will pay dividends. It will bring in jobs. It will keep hospitals open. And when you bring in jobs and you keep hospitals open and thriving, then businesses around those hospitals are going to grow up. You're going to have all kind of economic benefits to this. And you're going to have the ability for those hospitals and the services around there to do more than they have now. And that means attracting doctors and attracting nurses that right now we're losing. Between Alabama's abortion bill and the IVF and everything else that is going on in this state with women's health, we are losing not only hospitals, we're losing doctors and we're losing facilities. So I keep going back to that. But it's a big issue. But I think that's why I'm saying that we need, the governor and his or her bully pulpit alone can't do it. We need boots on the ground to win this election. We need boots on the ground to make the changes with the legislature, because it's going to be a Republican-dominated legislature. I think we can work with them. I think they're going to want to work with us. But I'm going to need the backup. I'm going to need the support. And Phil Ensler, when Phil gets elected lieutenant governor, is going to need that support. Jeff's going to need that support. We're all going to need it down there in Montgomery.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, the support in this room is going to follow you all the way to Montgomery.
It better.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know, I have, as was mentioned in the introduction, I've spent 35 years of my career in human resources. And one of the things I have always seen is how challenging it is for working mothers to be in the workplace.
Yeah.
And so the higher cost of health care, of child care, lowers mothers' participation in the labor force. As governor, what are the barriers you can remove to make it easier for a woman to be both a mother and to be an active participant in the workforce?
Well, remember, the governor alone can't really remove a lot of barriers. It's going to take a lot of people to remove those. And those barriers are a bunch right now. And child care is probably the biggest. Transportation cost is a big one. Even the housing costs that are there. And by the way, you know, look, we've got the ability and the opportunity on housing over the next few years to really do some things to get some affordable housing for people that will help those mothers and help others get in, help first-time home buyers. That the housing bill that passed Congress was the most significant housing assistance bill that has passed by the federal government in decades. It's a huge thing, and it was bipartisan bill, except for Tommy Tuberville. He was one of only five senators. Can you imagine being such a jerk? To be one of only five voting against something like that when everybody was wanting to pass it. And by the way, he said it was just a blank check for illegals. Just saying. I don't know what ChatGPT version he's listening to. but that one's a rogue version. But going back to the question though, look, we've got a really good pre-K program in Alabama. The problem is not enough kids are enrolled in it. We need to expand that. We've got to find the way where for all to expand it. But we also need to do this, I believe. I think we're going to need to enlist more colleges, junior colleges, and private businesses who are all looking for employees.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not an employer in Alabama who will say, oh yeah, we're full. Sorry, we're full up. And, you know, they talk about how unemployment is low in Alabama, but yet every employer that I know is looking for good people to work.
Right.
And it's those barriers that are keeping people.
Yes.
So those employers need to start kind of stepping up a little bit, I think, and helping with childcare and having their own centers or pooling some resources among private sector folks to help kind of minimize the cost. They don't have to subsidize it 100%, although that would be nice, and most of them could afford it. But that at least you could cut those costs down a lot. So there's a lot of ways to do things. I will tell you folks, money is going to be an issue in Alabama over the next few years because of the anything but beautiful bill that Tuberville and those folks passed. Our budgets are going to be tight, and we've got to look at it in any number of ways. Transportation is another one. I think transportation is a big issue for a lot of people, and it's a bigger issue now that gasoline prices are going up, and then they're going down, they're going up, they're going back down, depending on who says who controls the Strait of Hormuz. And so I think we got to try to figure out ways to get more public transportation in the state across the board. Y'all may not realize this, but in the 1950s, Alabama passed a constitutional amendment that prohibited the state from using any of the gas tax money or any state money for public transportation. And so you have to depend on the cities, the counties, or some funds from the federal government. And that's been, who the hell knows what's going on with those funds. But we got to find ways to do that. And I'd like to repeal that amendment because we got to find some ways to do more public transportation in Jefferson County and Mobile and in some of the rural areas.
Yes. I can attest that is definitely a barrier for many people in workforce access. As you mentioned, the unemployment rate is low, but Alabama's workforce participation numbers
is also low.
Is low.
Well, I mean, it's high. I guess it's high.
We want more people being able to participate, and they can't because of some of those barriers.
That's right. And we're like the third highest in folks, and that is that's a real problem. And it's not people that are not wanting to work.
Right.
In Alabama, you don't get enough assistance to not want to work. A family of three cannot be on Medicaid if they make, a family of three cannot be on Medicaid if they make more than $4,600 a year. That's $380 a month. Okay? So people are not laying around on their couch like Tuberville thinks they are, saying, I'll just collect my check. They want to work, but there are those barriers out there. It's a big deal.
Absolutely, it absolutely is. And you mentioned the anything but big beautiful bill that Tommy Tuberville voted for. Let's talk about that as it relates to food assistance and family stability, which is another big issue. It has already knocked over 80,000 Alabamians off SNAP. And our state now faces a funding gap just to keep the program afloat. So that burden lands the hardest on the women who are holding their families together. So talk to us a little bit about, as governor, what would you do to help in that regard?
All right, let's put some of this in perspective, because what they started doing is, you know, the big boogeyman up in D.C. right now is waste, fraud, and abuse. Okay, that's the thing. We got to cut out waste, fraud, and abuse. Forget the fact that it's not that much. It's just clerical and administrative errors. So what they did was they put in some work requirements, but they also said that if a state's error rate, remember, SNAP is purely federal money. There's no state match like in Medicaid. So it's just like money coming down from on high. And it's based on your poverty level. It's based on a number of things. And so what they said was that there was an error rate, and you've got to get your error rate below 5 or 6%. And Alabama's is like 10 or 12. Now, it's come down some, and what they've told the states is that if you don't get it down by like next year, then you're either going to lose the benefit or either you're going to have to pay a big penalty, which we can't afford.
Right.
And I worry is, and I do think that they're trying to bring some of this down, but it's not easy because the error rate is based on administrative issues at the state level, but also with people having to fill out more paperwork now, which makes it more difficult. They've increased the administrative burden, not just on the states, but also on people. Filling out something monthly, making sure they get the work requirements and all this crazy stuff. So if we lose that, we're going to be in trouble. 80,000 of those people that got knocked off of SNAP benefits are 80,000, 30,000 of those people are children that got knocked off of SNAP benefits. And it's going to get worse. What I worry about is if we don't figure out a way to get the error rate down, which they're working, or get a waiver to allow us a little more time, the state of Alabama is just going to say, oh, sorry, we can't afford to do it, so we're just going to not take it. And that will be devastating to so many people. We've got 900,000 people, maybe, something like that, on SNAP benefits. I mean, it's incredible. We are the reason we need Medicaid expansion and the SNAP to stay where it is because we are both an unhealthy state and we are a poor state. So, you know, it's going to be great if we can get in there and if we do things like raise the minimum wage, get Medicaid expansion, do those things to lift people out of poverty. That's going to be the goal of a Doug Jones administration, is not just to get a whole bunch of assistance coming in, but to lift people out of poverty.
Wonderful.
And again, Elisa, nobody talks about that like that in Montgomery. Nobody talks about reducing the poverty rate. They want to give you a tax holiday to buy a gun. I mean, it's just the dumbest stuff ever. So we gotta talk about issues that mean a lot to people. Education's one, workforce development is one, but food assistance and poverty are issues as well.
Well, another issue that we don't talk enough about, I think, is about the brain drain that's happening in our state. And so many of us in this room have watched our children and our grandchildren and other children that we know in our communities leave Alabama, and not because they don't love it here, not because this is not where they want to be, but they don't see a future here. And that's not by accident. It's a result of the policy choices that we've made. So as governor, how do you build an Alabama where our young people actually want to stay and build a life?
Well, I think you've got to open the state up to like new and better ideas and things that young people are attracted to. We tend to throw ourselves back to the 60s too often, whether it's voting rights or whatever. We throw ourselves away from things like women's reproductive health. That's another reason people don't stay in Alabama. Okay? We have too many. I mean, look, if you listen to Tommy Tuberville as the senior United States Senator, would you want to come to Alabama to live? I mean, really?
No, you're right.
You know, so I think part of the issue, there's a lot that can be done. I mean, I think, you know, I want to create some things for entrepreneurs. You know, there's so many young people, especially today, with AI coming and all of the things that we know are on the horizon. We need more young people in Alabama thinking about what's going to be the next big thing that I can do here. What is it in these rural areas with all of these empty storefronts on Main Street in some of these smaller towns? What can I do and get in there? Well, every year we set aside hundreds of millions of dollars to go to these big giant corporations to come into Alabama and set up shop. Now, some of them, they're great. I mean, look, I have no problem with some of that. I think we may overplay it a little bit with what we do because I don't know if we're getting all the benefit. But then we hit home runs like with Mercedes-Benz and others. But I think we need to at least carve out some of that money that ought to go to young folks, for young entrepreneurs to stay in their hometowns, let them renovate that building, let them start their business and their dream, give them some help, not just financial help, but mentorships. People that can help them with, starting a business and keeping it afloat. Things like that. But the other thing, and I'm just going to be honest about this, I just think we need a new image in Alabama that will help keep people in Alabama. And I will, if I do say so, and there are so many things that when Lou and I first decided we'd run for the Senate, that we really didn't bargain for. But one of the things we really didn't understand or appreciate it as much is that people were watching that race. There were young people watching that race that were in Alabama. There were doctors watching that race from afar that waited to see what was going to happen. And when we won that race, UAB brought doctors in. People stayed in Alabama. We heard it over and over again. I think we underestimate sometimes the image that a state that has, the effect that it has on attracting people and keeping people. And you can only look around the South. We're still behind in population. South Carolina has passed us. I mean, it's incredible the way South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, we're still, thank God for Mississippi on that standpoint. But look, there's a reason. And the other reason is because people started working together across party lines and started doing things, and they got away from some of the crazy stuff that you see. And they started not just throwing money at stuff like data centers. Don't just throw money around like that. They started really working to what's it's going to take to keep people and really lift folks up. And that's Alabama's got to do that, and we can do that when we elect the change ticket.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Just saying.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, the night you got elected as senator, I was driving back from Atlanta, and I got a phone call from someone I was trying to recruit to come to UAB. And he was not returning my phone calls, but he called me that night and said, Alicia, when can I come to Birmingham?
As lawyers are famous for saying, I rest my case.
So I think I have time for one last question. You started talking a little bit about it, and it gets into the small business cost. As it relates to health care for families, and that can be as much as $4,000 per month plus deductibles and copays, and it's becoming unsustainable. So what are there some specific policies that we could pursue to reduce healthcare costs, specifically for small businesses and middle class families?
Healthcare costs that's a behemoth. Okay, that's a problem. The sad thing is that the United States of America has the highest healthcare cost of any civilized nation in the world, but we have some of the worst outcomes. It just doesn't compute. And there's a lot of reasons for that, I think. I think that what we've got to do is, one, expand Medicaid, because remember, Medicaid's expansion is mainly looking for folks in the coverage gap, that they make too much money to be on Medicaid, but they don't make enough money to afford good health care. And their employers can't offer something like that. So Medicaid expansion will help. But also, I think that we've got to look at ways to try to get small businesses pooling resources somehow with insurance companies that will give them better rates. I think that will help. And maybe some of that is going on that I just haven't seen just yet.
Enough.
But if it is, it's dang sure not enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough at all. And by the way, the governor, has the appointment on the insurance industry. The insurance department in Alabama. So we want to take a look at everything that could potentially lower the cost for families in Alabama, help small businesses. And, part of that, and small businesses would have to absorb a raise in minimum wage, but you do it, you step it, you don't do it all at once. And I think that we can do that and help all folks to lift, not only the lower cost, but we can lift their standard of living.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's now time for questions.
Okay, so are we drawn out of the hat? Okay, so this is the way we do the town halls. And by the way, we've done 7 town halls around this state. And, yeah, I mean, y'all think about that. When's the last time you've seen anybody hold in public office in Alabama other than Terry Sewell or Shamari Figures do a town hall? You don't. You don't see it at all. We have now done, since the 1st of July, we have done 7, I think, and we've got another one. We're going to Troy tomorrow. We're going to Gunnersville on Saturday. Jeff's going to be with us in Gunnersville. We've got more planned through at least the end of September, and we're drawing crowds like this or bigger. We had over 600 people that showed up in Huntsville. It's pretty amazing. And the way we do this is we make it random and unscripted. We invite anybody in the community to come, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, doesn't matter to us. Even people that live in Florida can come. He has not accepted that challenge yet. But with folks that want to ask a question, they get a number, and we put them in the Doug for Alabama hat, which is available on the merchandise store. And we just draw them out. So I'm going to draw 2 numbers. I'm going to draw 2, and the second number, just kind of get in line and be ready. We've got a microphone right here, and we'll do this for a little bit. So the first number I pulled was 660. Now, you don't have to. If we've answered the question or you're just shy, you've had second thoughts, it's fine. So I'm going to leave 660, and I'm going to go to 663. There we go. Okay. And on deck, 656. Anybody got 656? Okay. All right. So now we've got 2 lined up. Oh, no. That's who's 656? Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. Always have to give your name.
Hi, I'm Kirsten.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a 2-part question, especially with a Republican legislature. Expanding Medicaid is going to be, while worth it, an extremely uphill, long battle that even some voters may not resonate with because they don't understand it, because they've been in this propaganda feed for so long that it's confusing to them. Except for expanding Medicaid, how do you plan on addressing the maternal and infant mortality rates in the state of Alabama by way of nursing shortages because of hospital greed and cutting costs and cutting nursing staffing and things like that?
All right, good question. I want to go back to the Medicaid expansion, though, to tell you. I don't disagree with you. If you just look at history, you would think it would be an impossible burden. But when you've never had a governor pushing for it, and we haven't, Robert Bentley didn't do it. Kay Ivey's not done it. It's easy to let politics overcome. I can tell you from firsthand experience and discussions over the years, but particularly when I was in the Senate, there are people in that legislature who want to see Medicaid expanded. They want to. They want to try to find a way. It's their hospitals that are closing. Okay? It is their shortages of nurses. So I think when we elect Doug Jones governor, they've got the political cover to try to figure out how to get it done. And I think that's a really important piece of that. Folks will think instinctively, and it will be right on many occasions, that they'll fight me tooth and nail on so many things, want to just gut the office somehow, some way. But I am very optimistic that if I get elected governor, then all of a sudden there are going to be people in that legislature going, oops, what's going on? What's going on in this state? We better go knocking on the door and sitting down to talk. So I think that we're going to do that. I want to ask you a question. You've obviously got some experience in this, right?
Not actually in healthcare, but yeah.
Okay. Well, then that's okay. I thought you might be. We've got to just figure out ways to get money. It's not going to be easy. We need to be thinking outside the box a little bit. we need to get more birthing centers. We need to kind of, I think, some of y'all may disagree. I think we need to recognize doulas and license those to help with that. I think it will help in a big way. Okay. I think we can. I think we can do some things like that. What's interesting to me is that, and I've said this for so long, and I really believe it. If we can figure out one or two small things to do, then we can start tackling the bigger things. We're not going to be able to tackle all the infant mortality crisis in the first 6 months of my tenure, or the maternal mortality. But if we can do little things like make some progress on Medicaid expansion, if we can do things like with doulas, that makes some progress. If we can work with folks to try to think outside the box a little bit, even letting pharmacies do a little bit more than they could without having to get a doctor involved, which they can, more nurse practitioners involved, I think we can do stuff like that. And it's those little things that add up. I really believe finding the small things first will make us better able to talk to each other about the big things. So it may take a bit to tackle all those issues, but I think I really do believe it's doable. The one thing I want to start pushing, though, that I also think will help. I mean, look, let's just be candid. If anybody thinks that folks are going to stop with just the really tough abortion bill that we've got here, they're wrong. They're going to come for IVF sooner or later. They're going to come for contraception sooner or later. They're doing it in other states. Right now, bills are being introduced. The Republican Party in Texas wants to eliminate IVF in general. But right now, the legislature seems inclined to protect IVF and protect contraception. Well, let's put their money where their mouth is. Let's do a constitutional amendment and put it to a vote. And because the bill right now is not going to do it. So think about how that might jumpstart something. If we could get that done this year, after I get elected, think about how that might just jumpstart the whole conversation. And that's the beauty of, I think, change, is when you get a whole new set of officers in Alabama. You get a new attorney general that is not going to say, look, I'm going to go after doctors and people that help on all this. I mean, but follow the rule of law. And if you can have those conversations and you have some successes, we can build on each other because the momentum will grow. So that's the best answer I can give you right now. Okay. But I can say how we'll do it. We need help. Yep. Let's get elected. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me call one more number to get in line, 653. 653? Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Hello, right. Doug.
Yeah.
My name is Wendy Walters,
yes.
And I'm happy to be here with you tonight.
Thank you.
I don't question you on any of your policies. I feel like I know your policy platform pretty darn well. But we got to win for those things to happen.
Yep.
I was chatting, what is it today, messaging, with a friend of mine who is a Republican who thinks that the idea of Tommy Tuberville winning governorship is repulsive. Right? I mean, the things that he is feeding to you are remarkable. I mean, just let him keep talking. Come on. Social Security is a scam. So I want to know, how are you targeting those many, many Republicans out there who absolutely are disgusted by the idea of Tuberville? I think he is just as beatable as Roy Moore.
Yeah. Well, So I'm gonna be really honest about this. I think we make a mistake in this campaign if we try to target Republicans in general, because I don't know who those people are. We could spend all our time talking to somebody who is just going to nod and say, "Yeah, right, Doug," and then go in and pull the big lever. We could find somebody else who might will actually cross over vote for me, and a third person who may say, I hate Tuberville, I don't like anybody running, I'm just not going to vote. So what we're trying to do is that we're trying to find our people, number one. That is the key. That is why you guys have been so successful with your phone banks and everything else, is targeting our folks to get them out to the polls. Remember, said this the first time I came with you guys. We got 920,000 votes when I lost to Tommy Tuberville. 920,000 votes is the most votes any Democrat in Alabama has gotten in history. And it would have been enough to win any governor's race in history. We got 70,000 more votes than Joe Biden, which meant there were 70,000 people that voted for Donald Trump for whatever reason and voted for Doug Jones. Probably because they were repulsed by maybe having Tuberville as a senator. I don't think any of those people are going to go, ooh, damn, I made a mistake and should have voted for Tommy. But we're going to target our people. That's number one. Now, I will tell you there are certain groups that I hope that we can talk to, because I think they're traditionally, at least in the last 20 years, are groups that have been more inclined to vote Republican and for whoever the nominee is. One is teachers. We're a big advocate for teachers, raising teacher salaries if we can do it. We talked about the lottery and trying to get money in to help teachers, retired teachers, all of those. So I think we're looking at trying with our education platform and making sure we try to keep state money in local schools. I think we've got a chance of getting a lot of those teachers and retired teachers. The second thing we want to do is that we want to look at a lot of state employees and retired employees. You mentioned Tuberville saying Social Security is a scam. He's always wanted to put that in private hands, make it susceptible to the stock market. Now, everybody thinks, okay, when you just hear that, you think, okay, well, if you look at the stock market, if you kept money in there over 50 years, yeah, it's gone up, and it will do that. That's what's great about America. But retirees and people don't live like that. They want something stable when they get into retirement. They don't want to be the whim of the stock market where it could crash with this AI bubble that we may be in. They don't want to see it ebb and flow like that. They like the stability, and the private sector cannot give that. The point I'm making, though, with state employees is that they have a really good retirement. One of the brightest spots in Alabama over the last however many years has been the retirement systems of Alabama.
I'm a proud retiree.
Right. And it's not always, the returns have not always been perfect. Let me go fishing this damn thing out.
David Brunner can never die.
Yeah, I got it. It's okay. But I will bet you if he ever gets elected governor, he will want to do away with RSA and put it with his buddies who will make money on it. Put it with Goldman Sachs or whoever that will make money on it, subject to the stock market. So we want to make sure that folks that have those state pensions understand and know he's coming for you. There's no question. That's the main thing about the Social Security, is privatizing. And the last group is veterans. We got a huge veteran population in this state. And I want the veterans of this state to compare his record on veterans to my record on veterans. His record is promising, and it's on video 3 times, promising veterans he was going to donate every dime of his salary to veterans if he got elected. He hadn't donated a penny. And that's a big deal, okay, when you say something that bold and then you just don't do it when you know he's got the money. He's the only person I know in the U.S. Senate who got paid millions of dollars for leaving jobs, But he also voted against the PACT Act, which, like the housing bill, was one of the most significant housing assistance bills. The PACT Act was one of the best VA assistance bills passed in decades. And it was a bipartisan bill. He voted against it. He is constantly not saying a word as this administration, Donald Trump's administration, slashes the VA, making wait times longer, calling things into question. He's got a horrible record on veterans. When I was up there, we helped with veterans' nursing homes that got into trouble and calling for investigations. We did things for military housing. And I didn't even get to the fact that you withheld promotions for generals for a damn year, which was a nonpartisan thing that happens every time. he did that. And the biggest thing, you know, one of the things I'm proudest of when I was in the Senate, and you guys may not know about what they called the military widows tax. It was an offset that got created about 30, 40 years ago, where Congress, in their stupid wisdom, decided that they would offset benefits going to the widows or surviving spouses of veterans who died of a service-related injury and death. And they offset them. And part of the offset was with a fund that they had paid for. It was like additional insurance that you get. And these veterans had paid for this insurance, but Congress decided, well, we administer it, it cost us money, we'll just offset these benefits. And so these folks were not getting the benefits that were by law, by statute, or paid for. And it took 30 years to repeal that. And no one ever gave us a chance. When I said, by God, we're going to do this, I didn't know about it. I said, we are making, my office is going to make it our mission to get rid of that. It helped 2,000 Alabama families, only 2,000. But we got rid of it. It was one of the best days in the Senate when it happened. Those Gold Star wives in the balcony applauding. The whole Senate started applauding. Most of them had voted against it before. But we got it done, and it allowed military widows to stay in their homes, to live in dignity. It's just that little bit of money. So I'm gonna talk to veterans, and I'm gonna say, look, thank you for your service. Vote for somebody who appreciates it and doesn't just talk the talk.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. All right, so if y'all haven't noticed, Louise said I was chatty, and yep, it happens, but I like to chat about things like that. So, okay, next number after this is 661. 661? All right, I'm going to get another number. Hold on. 661? No. See, y'all embarrassed the hell out of her. 651. Okay, all right. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Mary Ellen, and I'm thrilled to be here. I'm glad you're chatty, because I want you to be chatty on television in a debate against this idiot man. I don't think he'll do it, but how can you push him and embarrass him enough so he has to?
You know, we're going to probably step that up a little bit. We have received, I don't remember, 4 or 5 maybe invitations from various organizations. The Birmingham Business Journal was one. We've had several to debate. And of course, we're accepting them and just saying, you know, subject to working out details and all. He doesn't even respond.
I know.
Going back to my comment about veterans, one of the big veterans organizations, the River Region, wanted to have a big candidate forum, not just the governors, but lieutenant governor and several candidates. They wanted to have them give everybody a few minutes to talk, answer questions, you know, and it was veterans oriented. Not a single Republican accepted, and so they canceled it. So we're gonna step it up. I've been saying, you know, he is telling people he wants data centers, he wants AI, which we can all understand why, and he studied data centers. He said, I've studied them for 2 years. I've talked to the power company. I've talked to the tech companies. He hadn't talked to you, he hadn't talked to people. But if he studied them that much, let's have a debate just on data centers. Okay? We can start there and then move on. I will be shocked. I will be surprised, but we'll see. We're going to keep pushing.
Well, I want you to do a commercial that shames him into doing it.
We'll probably do more social media. I got to tell you guys another thing that's important, and I know probably just about everybody here, if not everybody, has contributed, and it's really important for us because at this stage we've done what we need to manage the campaign and do the things that we need to. What we're trying to do now is to raise money to go up on media. It's a different world, and we're doing a lot of social media. We're doing things like that with my handles, with Louise's, with the Doug for Alabama things. But we're also trying to figure out how to best get up on some media, radio, TV, whatever. It's going to be a challenge for us. It's not going to be like 2017 when money was just falling out of the sky, and we were up. And I know y'all got sick of me. You saw it way too much. You're going to get sick of Tuberville, and that's the other thing I want to. Well, somebody said we already are. But my point is, and I want to tell you, he's got like $8 or $9 million in the bank, and it's going to be an onslaught. He doesn't know how to do anything unless it's during football season. So you're gonna see a lot of TV commercials, and it's all going to be negative stuff. It's all going to be about socialism and communism and Muslims and abortion and all these other things. So know it's coming. Fear, division, and hate. It's coming. Do not get disillusioned. We have a plan. Don't let it bother you. I'm going to try like hell to not let it bother me. I'm going to have to try even harder to keep Louise from shooting the TV when she sees it. Trust me. But I'm really serious, though. It will be real easy to think, oh, my God, he's got so much of this. It's killing him. We've got a plan. And if we stick with the plan and y'all stick with what you're doing, it's going to roll right off, and we're not worried about it. So, all right, yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Felicia. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Doug, I just want you to know I just really love you a lot.
So, could we get a show of hands?
Yeah,
people?
everybody loves Doug. All right, I have a cheer that I'm going to start off with because I have so many questions, but I know we're just limited to one. When I say Doug, you say Jones. Doug? Jones. Doug? Jones. When I say Doug, you say Jones. Doug? Jones. Doug? Jones. All right.
All right, yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I know we all appreciate you being here. Out of the many questions I have to ask you, in such times that we're in right now, such a divided country, how in the world are we going to pull this together? What is your intent in pulling us all together?
I think we're doing that right now.
Yes.
We've already heard Republicans around the state saying, I can't vote for this guy, and people are at least giving us a look. There are a lot of folks who didn't even give us a look in 2020, okay? And I think we're doing that. We're doing that with all the town halls, when we invite everybody, when we have unscripted. This is being broadcast live. And so we will take a lot of the things that happened here today, especially the cheer just then, and put it on social media. We're going to do another one in a minute, okay? But we've been doing a lot of that. We're going to be doing more. I'm doing podcasts. I'm getting everywhere. There's no podcast too small or too big for me to spend 30 minutes to an hour. I did one today that'll drop Thursday. If you listen to Governor Andy Beshear's podcast, I'll be on that on Thursday. So, I think that's how we're going to people. After the 24 election, there were a lot of hand-wringing. There was a lot of autopsies about what went wrong. And one of the things that was consistent across the board is that Democrats don't go where people are. And that is both physically where they are, but also in their cares and concerns. We've often tend to talk down to people. Well, we're not doing that. We are going to where they are. We've been in Dothan. We're going to Gunnersville. We've been in Huntsville. We've been in Montgomery. We've been in Greene County. What else did we do? We did one other one, I think. Troy. Yeah, we're going to Troy tomorrow. So we're going to where voters are, and we're going to listen to people. And we listen and talk as much as I talk. And that's how you reach people. And that's how you bring folks together. Because when folks hear that and they see it, they will blow off these fools who just say, well, Doug's a communist. Because they don't even know what a communist is these days, okay? So we're doing things that way. And again, once I get elected, we're going to keep doing them. We're going to be out there doing town halls, just like I did when I was in the Senate. We're going to be out with people. We're going to be in these districts. I'm not going to just sit behind a big old desk in Montgomery and wait for something to come my way. We want to be out there because I think it is as much as anything that a public servant, and that's what I consider all of these offices to be, is not just to put your finger to the wind, but part of the job is to educate people. That's why we're doing these town halls too, is to educate folks about what's going on. So that's how I think we do it.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And if you're looking for a cheerleader, I'm here for you.
All right. Well, We'll get one going in a minute when we end this thing, okay? I got two more numbers here. How long are we going to go? We good? We're good. Okay. All right. 667. That's you. All right. Okay. 667 and 650. 650. Hold on. Let me get. She got 650? Okay. All right. Good. Awesome. Okay. 667.
Okay, well, hey everybody. I have a lot to say, and I'm chatty too. So,
okay.
My name's Angela Harris, and I'm the mother of Anaya Blanchard. First of all, let me just say, I love you. I love our state. I love Alabama. Always have. I've never thought about going anywhere else. My daughter was murdered in Auburn in 2019. I'm a pediatric nurse. I have a lot of things questions I wanted, because I have a lot of things that's happened to me that are important. Like, we changed the law. We have an IS law now, which is working amazing.
Right.
Healthcare, though, is... Thank you. But healthcare was another big issue for me, because I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 22 years, pediatric nurse. Ambulance services over the state of Alabama.
Yep.
You're not going to get one,
right,
unless if you're dying, you might as well get in the car, somebody drive you, because you're not going to get one. My husband is a fire medic as well, but the rural areas, that's what hurts my heart the most, is because I see it. It's happened to my family member. My uncle died of a heart attack because the ambulance couldn't get there in time. Right. In Marion County, Fayette County, and Lamar County, there's one ambulance service in 3 counties. So, and then the mental health crisis that we're having. As a pediatric nurse, me and my charge nurse would talk every night about we need more mental health care facilities for children, but now also adults. So I think you answered it with the Medicaid question. I think that's going to help a lot.
Big part.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But that was one of my questions, is what your thoughts on that.
Here's part of the problem. And first of all, I think everybody here felt as much pain as we could of not being there with what happened to your daughter. And you are to be commended for the work that you did with an IS law and getting some of that change. I really mean it.
Thank you for voting, for anybody who voted for an IS law. It was the citizens of the state of Alabama. Over 1.5 million people voted for that law.
That's
and
right.
we changed the Constitution to keep our state safer.
And that's a good thing. Yeah. One of the points of that is not just to thank you, but to remind people what advocacy can do.
Right.
Okay? What we've got to make sure, all of those issues are so important, they're not going to be changed overnight. But if we can get people that right now, folks in Alabama do not get engaged unless all of a sudden something happens. We passed Bo's Law, which was about dog tethering, okay? Because a lot of people that have dogs have finally rose up, and they just shamed the legislature into doing something, despite the fact that Alpha opposed it, because they thought you were going to tether a cow or something. I don't know. It's weird. But the point I'm making is those issues can change with a series of things. They're all connected. Medicaid expansion is connected, trying to think outside the box on healthcare delivery, how we can get those ambulance services, because you're right. That is a huge issue. Medicaid expansion, and folks don't appreciate it as much probably, would also not only help when rural hospitals stay open, guess what it does? Here in Birmingham, your waiting room, your emergency room is not as filled, okay? So we've got to connect the dots for people on all of these things, but it takes advocacy. You have learned how to be that advocate. Yeah. So we're going to count on you to kind of help us come through, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Come here, thank you. Thank you for everything.
I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm very excited.
Okay, yes ma'am.
Hello, I'm Alicia. So with a lot of the things that I've been doing, I'm noticing the problem with going to the polls is, the problem is them not going to the polls. So I want to just directly ask you and your team and help others that's mobilizing, what would you think about, or how would you go about getting the numbers to the polls, the registered voters going to the polls more?
Yeah.
What would be a good?
Great question. It's going to be the last one before I do my cheer. Because that is a huge question. I mean, that is so important. Alabama votes like in lower numbers than so many other states in the country. And we do it in part because we make it hard to vote, okay? You got to vote between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on one day, no matter what the weather is, no matter how you feel. So one of the things I want to do, now we're going to do something in this campaign on door-to-door, getting folks engaged. I'll talk about that. We want to do our own Voting Rights Act in Alabama. Let's have some early voting where people can go at their own pace. That would help. If we could change the mail-in voting some on the absentee ballot to make it a little bit easier, we can do that too. But let's do it one step at a time, and let's get some early voting where you don't just have to go to the courthouse, but you can go over like a 2 or 3 week period to your voting place. It's easy to do, and it won't cost that much more money. That will be a big thing to get people to the polls. We want to find ways that will make it easier for people to vote in today's world. We are still thinking about voting as if it's the 1800s, okay? And it was a big deal. You go to the county square and everybody votes and you have a picnic and it's a party. Not anymore. People are busy. They can't stand in line. So we're going to do that, number one. Let me tell you about this year, though, because what you touched on is important for us to win this election, and that's getting people to the polls. Our campaign is doing some things. The Alabama Democratic Party is doing some things. And yes, if you've noticed that I said something good about the Alabama Democratic Party, it's there. It has changed. We are working together. Anthony Daniels has a separate program that he's doing in a number of counties where he has identified what we call low propensity voters, those that don't go out. He's getting churches engaged. He's getting communities engaged. He's getting the legislative members engaged. Everybody, as between now and Election Day, I think you're going to see a real effort to start getting people to the polls. It's not enough when you call them and they answer it, and I know that's a problem. They don't always answer, but it's not enough for them to say, "Oh yeah, I'm voting for Doug Jones." We got to find out where they are, where they live, how they're going to, what's their plan going to be to actually get to the polls. That's how we build our numbers. That's how we get that 900,000. So there's several, we're looking at it in a lot different way of trying to make sure we get people to the polls. And once I get in, we're going to start changing the whole mindset about voting in this state and make it easier for folks to vote, and it'll still be secure, and we can get it done, okay? All right, so folks, we are over time. Thank you again. This is an incredible crowd. We really appreciate it. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. I can't, yes? Hey.
I don't feel like saying but I just want to know what everybody said. How can we get to the young people?
We're getting to the young people. We're talking to them. Let me tell you, we had a bunch of...
They the main problem.
They are a problem. I am not going to be caught on a hot mic saying that young people are the main problem. Okay? That is not going to happen. Okay? Look, we are engaging. That's why we're doing so much social media. It's why we're doing podcasts. I've been told that if I could just get on TikTok and do the Dougie, we would get all the young people. They're still like, I look at all my staff over there. But we are working on that. And what we're seeing, we're going to organize colleges and universities. And we're going to get folks going on that. We're doing a lot for Reach Out, and we do it. But I want to thank you. But since we had a cheer earlier, I want with this group, because y'all were there first. I mean, the Women for Alabama was there first when we first started. We've got how many days? 70 something? 79, 78? Who's counting, right? November 3rd. So my question to you, if you remember Barack Obama, and I'm sure you do, you fired up? Ready to go? You fired up, ready to go? Fired up? Fired up? Fired up? All right, let's do it, guys. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
The committee wants you to do a selfie with all the women behind. Ooh, that's.
Oh. Y'all, wait. I'm told I've been ordered by folks to do a selfie with you guys. So here we go. Everybody come in, come in, come in. Lou, you get up, Lou, you get up, Lou, you get up here with me. A chair.